All right, everyone, welcome back. This is Damien. This is going to be lesson 7 of Beginner's Java. And today we're going to be talking about nested if statements. So just like last video, we sort of introduced them, but we didn't go tremendously deep. So the first question is when to use them, or better yet, why. And the answer is sometimes we need for a single condition to be true before we make any decisions, right? So in the last example, we took an example with sales, and we said if sales were greater than X, then bonus equals sales times Y. Whatever it was. Something along that is what we did last lesson. But how about this? And this is something that maybe we'll see at some point in the future, right? So let's say we have a car. And the miles per gallon, or, kilometers/liter if you're over in the UK or somewhere, drops below a certain amount, right? So I'm just going to leave it as miles per gallon as less than 30, and you're driving a Toyota Prius or something. Maybe they want to recall your car. So let's do an if statement that begins like this. So let's say that you drive a Toyota. Well, so let's first start with string make equals Toyota. And since we all know that Toyota also owns Lexus, maybe we'll have another if for that or something. So from there we'll say double MPG equals, let's say 25. And lastly, we'll do model. Okay, so we'll do string model equals hatchback. Okay, so make model. Obviously, I can't use more targeted names than that. But so let's say if make equals Toyota, and I'm wondering if this is actually going to throw an error. Tyota. It's actually very interesting. So yeah, see how this says this is always going to be true? So the reason why is because make is a string. And the way to compare strings, oddly enough, is not using equals like that. You actually do dot equals, and then you can say Toyota. Or alternatively, and this one actually, it takes a little bit more in terms of processing power. So if you're ever processing a lot of items, this won't be quite as good. But I like to do equals ignore case, so that way I can say Toyota in all lowercase or really weird scribble case like that. So we can say equals ignore case like that, and I'm just going to leave that horrible looking just to show equals ignore case. We'll match it, and then we'll say if MPG is less than 30, and now we'll do a last one and say if model dot equals ignore case hatchback, and actually, you know what? I'll just change it to equals hatchback. There we go. And so now I'm 3 if statements in. right? And so let's say I have, I say system.out.println, your car needs to come in for a recall. Now going down into just, so where we're here in between this miles per gallon being low, or lower than 30, we can now print out something that everyone will see, right? So you might say system.out.println, even if a recall isn't necessary, it seems as though your vehicle is getting poor gas economy. And then if it's Toyota, we can just say out.println, we apologize for any inconvenience. Just something like that. And so here's what this is going to do. So since we have a hatchback, it's going to print out all three of these, right? So we'll give this a quick run. It's going to compile, and once it gets done compiling, you'll see that we see all three of these. But if we change one of those, right? We change that up to 40. Now all we're going to see is we apologize for any inconvenience from Toyota, because it's no longer greater than 30. So it will never hit either of these two statements, right? Because it goes to the end of this bracket on 30. So that closing bracket, all this stuff in here gets skipped. And it goes to right here, and the next line is obviously that one. So we can kind of play around with that a little bit. And obviously I could have thought out the wording a little bit better, and we can just throw in and should be looked at, just something like that, or fuel economy or whatever. So this is the basis of nested if statements, and there's a lot of them. One of the ones I had to do when I was in college is to determine whether or not somebody had an ear infection, or if it was just a fever with, a head cold or an ear injury or, a bunch of other stuff. And it was actually extremely complicated. It's way more complicated than you would think. And so as far as homework suggestions go, there it is. So if you look up on Google how to determine if someone has an ear infection, create a program using nested if statements to determine if someone has one. And obviously this should not replace seeing a doctor. This is not me giving medical advice or anything like that. But it is something that I know kind of goes into like, well, if a person has pain in their ear and slight fever symptoms, but not over this temperature, then they should, get a prescription for an ear infection. Otherwise, they should go to the hospital and blah, 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 blah. So there's a lot of ifs and elses there. But for now, I think that that's going to be a good place to reinforce what we went over here. If there's any questions, please feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I am Damien. Thank you for watching.